You are listening to the Bright Life Podcast, all about ways to stay inspired, chase your dreams, and find more gratitude in the highs and lows of the journey. I'm your host, Jessica Johnson. I'm a business owner, a part-time digital nomad, a self-growth junkie, a believer in other big-hearted women, and am all about sharing tips, tricks, lessons learned, and encouragement so we can all live our biggest, brightest lives. You ready? Let's do this. Hey girl, welcome to today's episode. This is for anyone who has been in that stage of juggling a full-time job and also having a dream to start a creative project or even a business. And it's that dance between wanting to do really good work at your job and having all your commitments there, not to mention the rest of your life, right? Like friends and family and hobbies and self-care and personal development, all the stuff. And then also wanting to give some life and attention to whatever you want to bring into the world, want to create. This is a stage that I was in for years and years and really had to navigate and find ways to find the time to build the side hustle and build the dream, to still be able to recharge and feel like I had enough overflowing that I could even have energy for that at the end of the day, and then still do like really good work and get promotions and, give my heart to my day job as well, and really not sacrifice in either of them. And also really not mix the two, right? Like as much as possible, just keeping them really separate. So when you're present in one, you're fully there, you're doing your best. And then when you're in the other, like you're crushing it at that too. And you can almost just like present where your feet are, as my friend Keisha says. And then the rest of the time you can go and devote to all the other responsibilities you have in your life. So if that's where you are, it's such a hard stage to be in because there's just so many demands on your time and on your energy, and it can feel like you don't have enough momentum behind your dream, or like you'll never get where you want to go. And I just want to offer you some things that really made a difference for me and helped me to manage all of those worlds, and eventually get to a place where I could have a business that, was created by me that is my full-time thing. So I hope that these really serve you if you're in that stage as well. The first thing that I would say is to have one night, if nothing else, just one night a week to devote to your side hustle, even if it's a few hours. So for me, when I was in my 20s, I had this blog called Heart Swell for years, and it was all about things that inspired me and made my heart swell and things I felt grateful for or, explored. It was kind of in that personal development realm. And I posted there every single weekday for years. And what I learned with that is that if I did a little bit like every day, it felt overwhelming and it felt exhausting because it felt like my brain was always on, whether I was at work or then jumping to the blog or, that kind of thing. It felt like I was always spinning. But if I could have Monday nights, that's what I used to do. Monday nights after the weekend were my night where I would not say yes to any social things. Those were my time to go and build out the content for the rest of the week on that blog. And I was really focused during that time, and I made it a time to just get cozy, and I would like literally sit under my covers and just grind on my blog. And then the whole rest of the week, it was so easy to just share on social media. That the blog post came out for the Tuesday and then Wednesday and Thursday, but it wasn't like thinking of fresh content every single day. So that's one of the first things that I think really can help is if you can compartmentalize and give yourself that one evening a week, or maybe for you it's a weekend and it's Sunday afternoon and you get like between 4 to 8 to really just work on your dream. That is a good chunk of time, and especially if it's focused, you can do so much even in 2 hours. So you have to be intentional with your time, and you have to be disciplined around that and around protecting it. But that's one thing that I think can really help in terms of keeping momentum going and then not having it creep into your other responsibilities or professional life. So that's the first thing. The second piece is you might have to do a little double duty and be like very ninja-like with your time. So for example, whenever I'm in a building season and I need to absorb all kinds of content, or I want to, right? Like I'm reading and I'm listening to podcasts and I'm listening to interviews and watching YouTube videos, I will really like multitask my time. So if I have a commute, I will also be listening to an audiobook or a podcast on that commute. If I have 30 minutes on a treadmill, I mean, I used to do this. I used to listen and watch Marie Forleo YouTube videos while I was working out because I was getting so much good content from her, learning how to build a business and feeling so inspired by it. And so I, instead of watching, the latest reality TV show, I would watch Marie Forleo 3-minute videos on YouTube over and over again while I worked out on the treadmill. So that can really help you. The other thing too is if you are in a position where you get like a lunch break, where maybe that's a great time to work on emails or work on your website. You don't want to sacrifice anything to your employer, right? Like you want to be really present and intentional and a good employee while you're there and use work time for work time. But if you have a lunch break that's yours, maybe you get out of the office and those 30 minutes a day can really, really add up. If that's all you got and you don't even have an evening for yourself, well, one, I would question you to really like carve out that time if you can. But two, if you don't, what can you do during times you already are doing other things? So whether you're at the gym, whether you're just driving in a commute or sitting on a bus, whether you are eating your lunch, what can you do during that time to just chip away at 15 to 30 minutes to 45 minutes or an hour? Also, look at your social media. Like, it's pretty crazy if you check your app on your phone for how much Instagram and stuff like that can add up. If you have time for Instagram, you can have time for your dreams. So almost anytime you feel that urge to go check social media, 30 minutes goes by so fast on there. It's so sad in a way. So just see if there's a way that you can maybe shift that time and instead use it to just do one little thing for your business or your creative project. Another thing that I think is really helpful to remember is just to use where you're at to serve where you're going. So when I was trying to figure out what kind of business I wanted to create, when I was starting to get curious about entrepreneurship or wanting to write my website, I would become this sponge where if work would have me go to a conference on marketing, I would 100% be learning it for my job, but I would also be looking at it with a bigger vision, right? Like I would be like so gung-ho about these conferences because it wasn't even just about my day job anymore. It was about learning this stuff so that I could build my dream. And so for you, like if you travel, if you have sales conversations, if you are working on certain projects at work, like pour your heart into those and learn all that you can about sales and about content writing and about working with other people and managing budgets, and pay attention to the software that's being used and pay attention to what doesn't work in the processes. All of that stuff is going to serve you in your business. So in a way, even though this season can be frustrating and hard because you're kind of in between two, it can also become this mission of yours, and it can have such bigger purpose if you are using every single moment to anticipate your dream and to really like learn something that's going to serve you one day. So I think mentally that's a great way to get out of that feeling of like, oh, like I'm not where I want to be. Like, yes, you are. You are getting paid to learn all these things that will serve you one day. Just remember too, like your day job is good money coming in. So you are in a position right now to purchase courses or trainings, or even on your own dime to go to conferences, which is another thing I literally did. Like if my work, wasn't interested in sending me somewhere, I paid for it myself because I had a salary and an income to use. And so that can be something too, where like sometimes starting a business, funds are a little bit tighter, not always, right? Like, but you can just feel that way. And so use the money that you have coming in now to learn the skills you want to learn and to invest in trainings that will serve you in building a business. A last little thing that I will say that I think can help, and I wasn't always very good at this, but in hindsight, I would have done this more, is setting mini goals or milestones. So, for example, if you do have the dream of retiring from your corporate job when you have a functioning business, maybe set a little milestone of like, when I get this amount, I can pull back my hours by a quarter, right? Like at my day job. When I get this amount, I can leave my day job and like celebrate the milestones along the way to that, because if you don't have that number in your head, one, it's harder to work towards. And I think it just comes more slowly because you aren't like chipping away and you aren't visualizing this thing every single day. It feels so far away. Whereas if you're like, if I can make a few thousand a month, I can quit my day job or I can drop my hours to half. Man, that is motivating, right? Like all of a sudden you see opportunities everywhere and you feel closer and closer just the few $100s that you get and inch towards it. You can also do something like aim for one new client a month. So I know you're working, I know you're busy, that's okay. It doesn't have to be this overwhelming goal, but can you slowly build this snowball of this dream? Can you get one client a month? And before you know it, you are going to have a client base. Like over the course of a year, that's 12 clients. I mean, that depending on the profession you're in could be thousands of dollars or enough to replace a whole entire corporate salary. So I'd really think about how can you break it down and make it fun and make it tangible where you know what your action steps are and you can honor those milestones when you get to them and actually see the path to leaving your corporate job or your day job if that's your dream, or just really freaking celebrating the heck out of hitting those milestones because you know how big they are and you've chosen them carefully. So for you in this season, I really just want to cheer you on and congratulate you and say you're so brave, you're doing so much. I know it's hard, I know it's exhausting, I know it's challenging to just be in that in-between time and sorting through all those questions, not to mention producing all this work, but it is so worth it, and everything that you're doing now will serve you later. I think that's just a core belief to adopt for yourself and to go into work every day with that perspective. Like every challenge is serving you. Every tough colleague is a thing that's going to teach you about how to have relationship dynamics in your business. Like everything that doesn't work is a way to get better so that you can do it for your own business. So that can really, really help, I think. And just protect that time for your dream, whatever it is. If it's a few hours, if it's a lunch break, like you have to get a little scrappy. You have to be disciplined. It's not easy to build a business, and no one's guaranteed a profitable business right out of the gate. You've got to pour your heart into it to get there. And so look at that with pride that you're doing it and that you are chipping away bit by bit at this dream, and however long it takes to get there, milestone by milestone, goal by goal, you can do it, right? Get out there. So proud of you, and I'll talk to you next week. I recently created a free bonus for listeners that I'm super pumped about. It's a 7-day workbook to create your biggest, brightest life, full of exercises I use to bring my dreams to life, work through fears, and take inspired action. You can download it for free at bit.ly/podcast bonus, just as a thank you for listening. If you love this podcast, it would mean so much to me if you leave a review or share it with a friend. That helps so much with discoverability so others can find it too. Thank you so much for listening in. I'll talk to you next Thursday.